What's up, guys? Welcome to another live session. Today is March 23rd, 2020, and we're back again on the charts for our market insight session. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Mine was not too shabby, but the social distancing is getting a bit harder to manage day by day. Before we get into the juicy, charts and details and whatnot, I do want to go over some, admin stuff really quickly. So first and foremost, we're going to pick our winner from Friday's profit recap session. If you missed it, make sure you watch it. We cover how we made up to 800 pips last week. So make sure you watch it. For those that left a comment, subscribed, and liked our video, major props to you guys. Thank you for the continued support. And so we're going to pick a winner from Friday's video. So let's get these comments. And we got 40 comments. That's amazing, guys. And let's go ahead and pick a winner. Let's see who gets a free full month of Trade Room access. And the winner is Poiraz147. How can I join? That's actually funny. So this is how you join. All you have to do to get your free month is actually email support@forexlens.com, and they will hook you up. So that just your answer, your wish has been answered. You just got a free month on the house. And if you don't know what the trade room is, it's all these live sessions like the one today, every day, including our 5 signal providers and full access to our Discord. Now, speaking of Discord, if you guys notice, this is the last week of our March promotion that we've been talking about. And for this week, and this week only, if you bring a friend, you and that friend will get full access to our Discord. That means all our signals, all my chart work. You won't get, posting ability, so you won't be able to post, but you'll be given access to, signals from Vanity, signals from RP Forex, my chart work. You're going to get advantage to all of that this week. All you have to do is refer a friend, and you and that friend can take advantage all the way up until March 31st. So 1 free week of our full access to our Discord. All you have to do is bring another friend. So to bring a friend and to refer people, just email support@forexlens.com. Say, hey, I have a buddy I want to refer to. Please give us full access, and we'll give you full access to our Discord. So this is a place to be. As you can see on the right, we have members growing day by day, and it's pretty awesome. Sometimes during London, this thing can get up to 50 members, so it's pretty crazy. So definitely get in on that. So at the end of this session, I'll also be giving away a 50% coupon code for this trade room. In case you do want that full service right away, by all means do take advantage of that offer. Without further ado, this weekend has been monumental in terms of how people, and more importantly how nations, are going to tackle the Black Swan event. I almost said the word, but you guys know what I'm talking about, the pandemic going on. So we're going to go over a few articles from a really nice website, which I recommend, Daily Effects, and they basically cover what we need to know. So first off, the first one's called US dollar gains, crude oil sinks, Dow Jones repeats 2009 despite stimulus wave. So if you look at most of this is because, and I'm trying to highlight this word, this reason right here. This is the reason why things are going the way they are, and we know that by now. But you can see demand for preserving capital benefited the heaven-linked US dollar. This is what the Fed has done. The Fed has announced unlimited QE, which is quantitative easing. So they're going to buy back mortgages, buy back, mortgage-backed securities and treasuries in order to keep the economy afloat and keep the interest rate low. So this week, a lot of the, major banks, ECB, Bank of Japan, Bank of England, they're going to meet to cut rates once more, just to keep the economy going during this sluggish time. So they have a G7 meeting this week as well, and they'll probably talk most definitely about this thing right here to figure out what we're going to do. But in short, the US dollar is still pretty bullish this week, even despite, the Fed doing a bunch of stuff. And I'm trying to find the specific article where it talks about, oh, here we go. So the Fed cut the rate to 0%, quantitative easing relaunched to $700 billion. They introduced $1.5 trillion into the market to purchase commercial paper, and U.S. swap lines announced. So they're doing all this to keep the economy afloat, and it's still showing its dominance. So the reason why I covered this is because today we're going to be looking at the majors, and obviously some minors as well, but to cover the majors and where they're headed, and I think that will dictate where the minors go. So I told everyone on Discord, to send in their pair recommendations for today. And we have a bunch of pairs we're going to go through for people watching on YouTube and on the portal. And ask your questions and I'll answer them as I go through. I'm going to quickly say good morning to my people on the portal. And this is the Forex Lens portal. This is where the live session is actually hosted. And if you click play here, you actually see the live session. It's pretty awesome. You also got the chart work. So you can also chart as I go live. So it's pretty cool. And this is also included in our trade room. Anyways, yeah, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Let's get into it. Smash that like button, comment, and subscribe. Who knows, you might win a free month of full service. Now, here we have the Euro USD, and you can see, we've had last week pretty much a full-on sellout. 1, 2, 3, and then a fourth day of pretty much straight sells for Euro USD. It came as low as 1.06401. If you guys remember correctly, our 2020 projection for Euro USD was 1.05350 area. We made this prediction back in December, and we came pretty darn close to achieving it. We had a momentarily, a retrace, and let's see if there was any fundamentals to dictate that. Obviously, the Fed announcement this morning, which we talked about, and all day we're going to have the G20 meeting. So basically today we're going to have updates from your local news networks about what was discussed, about what the leaders are going to do. So that should affect the market unexpectedly. As this event's happening all day, you can have Trump say something at 3 o'clock, and then 5 o'clock you might have the Chinese PM, or you might have people from the European Union speaking. So it's gonna be unexpected volatility today. So do expect that, because these developments are gonna come as they come. And then President Trump speaking is tentative, meaning it could be any time of the day. And so it's gonna be a bit of a gamble to trade today. But if the setup's there, we can go with reduced risk. As for tomorrow, Euro PMI all across the board, we have that. So for German and French PMI, you can see the numbers are obviously substantially lower, and we all know by now why, the Black Swan event. So this could be good for the euro, for it to sink down, and that's what my bias for the Euro USD this week is bearish. We have the fundamentals being priced in right now. The forecasts are looking pretty gloomy. Now we just need the technicals to come through. So if we go to the weekly, and this is where it gets pretty interesting, the weekly isn't too kind right now. It's printing a hammer, and this level right here, 1.07665, is a pretty solid support for euro. If I just squeeze the chart down, you can see the two major zones we're in. This is our resistance zone, our support zone, and here we have our weekly levels, right? And the current support that we're trying to hold up above has had significance all the way back in 2016. And so this thing is going to try its best to stay above, and if it does stay above the support, it could make another push higher, but I don't think it's going to happen, especially with the fundamentals. And guys, the Fed projected unemployment in the U.S. to be 30% by Q2. Now, to put that into perspective, and I'll even type this out because this, this cannot be understated how bad this is. 30% unemployment projection by Q2. And if you guys remember the Great Recession had an unemployment rate of 25.5%, maybe. Something like that. I knew it was 25, but I think it might be 25.5%. So just to put in perspective, this is how bad it's going to be. 30% unemployment rate. And these people that are unemployed are going to go on unemployment assurance. Unemployment claims are going to go up. And then, the Fed is even thinking of sending, $1,000 or $2,000 to each family per month so they can stay afloat. This is going to be a bad, and that's not the right word, but that's an understatement, but this is going to be a terrible, terrible thing for the global economy. And if you're reading a lot of these reports by virologists, this self-quarantining, social distance, protocol that we're all enforcing isn't going to last a few weeks. It's talking about months, most likely a year, could even be 2 years. So with that being said, guys, Trump even announced the National Guard. He announced the National Guard in, I believe, the states of Seattle, California and New York to enforce these social distancing protocols. So it's pretty serious, guys, and the effects we're going to see in the job market, and then consequently the currency market is going to be there, and it's going to come full force. So 30% unemployment is the projection by quarter 2 in the U.S. Pretty crazy stuff, but as the U.S., this thing doesn't discriminate. Every country and nation's gonna suffer one way or the other, but we're in uncharted territory, that's for sure. So, in terms of the weekly time frame, if tomorrow's fundamentals are lackluster, then this candle should turn into bearish, and we'll probably head to our 2020 target. As in terms of entries for today, I would wait. Because we're still above support. This daily candle is pretty bullish. Now, I wouldn't want to risk the push back up to here. I'd rather have another 4-hour closure below this level. So let's take a look at the 4-hour. And so in the 4-hour, you can kind of see what's happening. If we move this horizontal ray to down here, you can see we've created support. And this is on Friday when we made that huge push down. Since then, at Sunday's market open, we've created the support at 1.06600, a very nice psychological level. 1.06600, a very nice support. You can see here, we've never had a 4-hour closure below this level, and I think that's the entry criteria to go short. Right now we're trying to fight this previous high, and if we do clear it, you may have a mini run back up to 1.09925, but with tomorrow's fundamentals looming, I don't know if this thing will make that push. Even if it does, it would be all just for this thing to melt. So to be safe, I would wait for a bearish closure below this horizontal line, and I'll put an alert to notify me when that happens. So patience is gonna pay. Sitting on your hands is gonna save not only a lot of money, but it's also gonna make sure you get the right entry. So my alert's gonna be at 1.06467. And it's going to be for a 4-hour closure for me to take it down, for us to take it down to 1.05350. So that's my idea. I'm not going to counter trend right now and try to long this thing. People on YouTube, I'm going to say good morning to everyone really quickly. Morning, DJ Enzo, Big Ray, Gustavo, Johnny, Chance the singer. I like that name. Good morning. Jessica, good morning. FX bro, how are you, bro? Silent Trader, it's silent. I like it. Very cool, very cool. Good morning, guys. How is it in Canada? It's terrible. I'm an extrovert. I need to see people and engage in real life interactions with people, and so I'm suffering. Tyler FX, US dollar going to keep going up. It seems that way. We'll take a look at we'll take a look at the dollar index. KJ, I thought it would last months, but years. Yeah. So a virologist or a team of virologists said it could last from a year to 2 years, because for a vaccine, the standard protocol is 12 months, and that's fast as possible. So 12 months is probably the minimum for this thing. Justin Lang, what's up, my dude? DJ Enzo, I'm out of work now. Need to start taking trade more seriously. Yeah, now's the time, guys. When you have this extra downtime, it's the time to work on your side business, your trading skills, opening up a trading account, getting into trading. Now's the time, guys. You will never get this much free time in a long while. So read the books, get an exercise plan going, but also work on your craft. Okay, so Euro USD is gone. I cover some of the pair recommendations because we have quite a lot today. Euro Aussie, so let's take a look. And I think we covered Euro Aussie last week. I think it was probably Pound Aussie, but nonetheless, Euro Aussie, here we go. So interesting. So Euro Aussie might have a long, and we did cover this on Friday. So, and we're on the 4-hour time frame, and this was Sunday. So Sunday we got a 4-hour closure above this level. I personally don't take trades Sunday unless I'm already in them. But we may have a nice long idea here. This thing should continue to go up as Aussie dollar starts to get weak again. Right now it's making some retraces, but soon enough the fundamentals will catch up to it. Now Euro Aussie, I might be interested in entering this trade. Just looking at the 1 hour. So the 1 hour has kind of created a suitable entry for us. Now if I just slide this previous idea over, you can see we've created a resistance on the 1 hour right around 1.86871. Right around these highs right here, we've created resistance. And so me personally, I'd be waiting for a 4 hour closure above this level, and then we'll take the long. And a matter of fact, we can actually make our stop loss a bit tighter than what it's being right now. I think this is fine. This blue zone is pretty significant that if we do close below it, I'm pretty sure we're going to be heading lower, so I'd rather cut the bleeding short. Now popping back to the daily, and hopefully I can let you guys take note of these levels. So popping to the daily, you can see the R2R is much better, 4.25. We like that R2R. And so what we're going to look for is that 4 hour closure above that horizontal ray to take us higher. And it is a clear uptrend, so we are trading with the trend. And this previous daily candle looking like a hammer, it should help us in our path to the higher highs. So I think the 2 hour might be better. Let's destroy the levels. Yeah, I think so. It's fine. Okay, so I'll spread it out as much as I can, and I guess I'll determine the take profits right now in front of you guys. So obviously, first take profit should be around 25 to 30 pips away. As you can see, your Aussie moves a lot per pip, so I don't want to overexpose us to risk, but first take profit would be 1.87100. Let me quickly get that. Okay, so that's gonna be the first take profit. And I'll probably send in the signal if we do get this closure. It'll be just easier that way. The next one will be these highs right here, and then the next one would probably be, and this is a long-term trade, but usually when you have chaos and a lot of noise in the markets, it's better to go for the long game because it filters it out. So, alright, we have a few take profits here, and let me just explain them. So this one right here is going to be the first take profit. It's going to be at 1.87125. The next one's going to be an intraday take profit again at 1.88182. The next one will be 1.89882. That's swing. And then the next one, 1.93051. That's a swing. And then finally, all the way up to here at 2.000. Now, obviously, it's kind of squeezed in just because the nature of your Aussie moves so much per pip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send in the signal when I do get this closure above this level. I'll put an alert. So don't really worry about this too much, but just understand the analysis. And I'll send the chart work anyways, just so you can have something to refer to. But we're looking for longs, but we do have to clear this previous high in order to confirm that. USD CAD, let's take a look. So let me actually save this before I forget. But yeah, so Euro Aussie moves a lot per pip, even pound Aussie. So for example, this potential move that we're targeting is substantial. Just to quickly measure it, this is around 1300 pips, and if you look, the stop loss would be around 400. So it's obviously not for the smaller accounts. You obviously have to use risk management, but there is a setup. Just gotta be patient. It is only Monday, guys. It's only Monday. So USD CAD. So let me remove this. Yeah, last week we had a pretty simple short idea, which panned out pretty well for those that asked and that took the trade. I think one person made 300 pips. And this stuff right here is still pretty much valid. For example, 4 hour bearish closure below support zone. Which introduced shorts, and that makes sense, right? So if we go to the 4 hour time frame, if we do get a 4 hour closure back below this level, we probably would have a short again. Now this one was on a Sunday, and I don't really trade Sundays too much, but now that we have this on a Monday, the first official trading day of the week, we could have a potential to long this back to 1.446,450. Now, I think the entry might have passed just because this is almost probably halfway there. So what we'll do is wait for this resistance to be crushed. Last time we tried to go higher, we did kind of stall at 1.46440, and so if we do get a break above on the 4-hour time frame, then we'll target 1.49 like we did in the past. We previously tried to do this, we just never got that 4-hour closure. So for USD CAD, let's see the 1 hour, and yeah, so for the 1 hour, I think the entry to target from here to here has passed. I would probably not enter now. Just the R2R is not there if I show you guys. So if you enter now, you take profits here. Your stop loss has to be below the support. And 1.17 is not an ideal setup. We like to take 2.0 or greater. And so this move will happen. I would not recommend entering now. But what I would say is wait for the 4-hour closure above this level right here. So I'm going to put an alert, see if it happens. Crossing up 1.46523, and we'll see 4-hour time frame, guys. So let's pop to the 4-hour, and I'll send this chart work once again through, and we'll see what happens. Once we do get that closure, it's gonna be pretty simple in terms of the actual setup. We just put a long here. Here's our take profit, and then our stop loss will be around 15 to 20 pips below our entry. And here we have a 3.12 R2R. So that's a deal. That's probably the best, risk for your buck. And that's what we're taking. So I'll save this as well, and I'll send that through. Thank you for those pair recommendations. Much appreciated. And that was given by Sagar. Next up, we have Sweet Casper with a few recommendations. Pound Aussie, GU, and Gold. Now, Pound Aussie has been probably the easiest pairs to trade this week. And I'll show you guys why. I explained this on Friday pretty much in detail, but it'll be a nice recap of how to use zones. Checking the chat, I was thinking of sells this week because Euro weak and Aussie strong, but we'll see. Maybe crypto, but yeah, I don't know. The Aussie is maybe momentarily strong just because making a retrace, but overall, are you gonna post the graphs? Yes, I'm saving all the graphs. My sell stop below 1.8. I need to be more patient and stop trading Sundays and Mondays. LOL. Always take losses. Yeah, dude. Seriously. That's why we tend to not rush entries on Sunday and Monday. I made a mistake. I went into USD Yen short on Friday, and I closed in profit on Sunday, but I entered again and kind of got burnt. So it's nice to get burnt every now and then. It makes you reminds you yourself to follow your trading strategy. So yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the juicy parts of the week for sure. So next up is Pound Aussie, and when I checked this morning, so here's a short idea we discussed on Friday, and what do you know, it actually played out. So let's actually go to the 1 hour. It's so comical about Pound Aussie. So this was Friday's session, the short that was given, and we almost got stopped out. And this is why Pound Aussie is tricky, but we almost got stopped out, but we ended up going to our final take profit, and that's funny. I think someone mentioned that in Friday evening that, hey, RP, your GA trade played out. Anyways, I was just trying to show you guys the consolidation that certain pairs are showing, and so let me just remove this. Let's just see how big of a movement it is for whoever caught this. It's pretty crazy. Damn, 240 pips. Awesome. Anyway, so I'm going to remove this idea, and we'll talk about these two zones. So for Pound Aussie, since the start of this whole pandemic, really, this thing gapped all the way to the upside, about 1,000 pips to the upside. Since then, it's been kind of trapped between two zones. I think the 4 hour would be best. It's been trapped between, this blue zone and then this zone right here. And then this zone right here. So 3 zones. In particular, it's respecting this support more than this one, just because it hasn't gone to this support that often. But you can see how many opportunities you had just by plotting these two zones. If I extend this over, and I went over this pretty briefly on Friday, but there's a reason why price action and supply and demand works. For example, we see this here we see this huge wick. Price comes again. Now we have our resistance established, right? We have 1, 2, 3, and then a fourth hit, right? Now next time we come here, we have a short. This is easy, 180 pips. Another short, 180 pips. Maybe 90 pips. Another short, 180. We chill at support for a bit. This is a long idea. And then we have a short for 90 pips. We have another short for 90 pips. We have a short for 60 pips. We have a short for 240 pips. Here we don't get a rejection, so we don't enter short. We come back here, we get a rejection. We have a short for 180. You get the point. And on the flip side, the reverse for the longs is true. We come to support, we have a long of 60 pips. We come to support, we have a long of 180 pips. We come to support, we have a long for 240 pips, etc., etc., etc. So, pound Aussie, in my opinion, if I were you, I'd be looking for longs now. Now that we've come back to the support and we've shown some wicks entering deep into this area, I would be waiting for the next 2-hour candle to show me some sort of bullish reaction. So if I get a candle, something like this would be great. So if this candle can replicate itself here, I'd be looking to enter long somewhere here to take it back up to this level, right? And even a hammer would be ideal. So a hammer like this would be amazing. A bullish hammer like this, you'd enter right away and you get maybe around 80 pip movement. Obviously, you take profits around 25 pips and move stops to entry. It's risk-free. So that's what I'd be doing for pound Aussie. I would be careful of taking shorts back down to here because, like I've said, it has a lot more respect for this support than it does for this one. For example, if you see in the past, we have closed below this level, but we always push back up. And we even had that here, and then we had a huge wick to the top before we go down. Similar thing here, so I'd be cautious, and I'd go to the 4-hour time frame to make sure of this. So even on the 4-hour time frame, when we do get closures below the support, price pushes back up. So it has a lot of respect for the support, and in that case, I'd be waiting for a 2-hour candle at the minimum. Ideally, a 4-hour candle, like a hammer like this is great. See, this is a great bullish entry. This is a great bullish entry to go long. But pound Aussie is very volatile. It moves a lot per pip. And just to show you what I mean by this trading range for most pairs, like for example, pound Aussie, this is a 500 pip trading range. For most pairs, this distance on the 4-hour would probably be around 120 pips. So do take note of that. If you have a smaller account and you don't want to be too exposed to risk, I would strongly advise against moving against the trend in pairs like this. But maybe longs might be the wave for this trade. So let me just plot the R to R in case if you were to enter now. Yeah, I think you can squeeze in a 2.0 R to R, but I personally would not enter this right now. But if you're risk seeking and not aversive, you can go ahead and give it a shot after the next 2-hour closure, which should happen by the end of this session. So next up, thoughts on GBP CAD. I'll give that a look. So pound Aussie, GU, and gold. So we'll quickly cover GU and gold, and then I'll look at your trades, Justin. So GU, I think this will be, so this is a setup I'm most intrigued about, and I think will be the major player for this week. So for the past few weeks, we've been slaughtering Aussie dollar and NSD USD for major gains. Now, finally, I think pound dollar is ready, or almost ready, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it, but on Friday we talked about pound dollar and this support it's created, right? It's stayed up all week last week above the support. On the 4-hour time frame without going lower, and you can see on the 1-hour time frame we did get a breach when we were looking to go short, but we didn't get the 4-hour closure, and that's why we did not enter. And so if you entered, you would have got stopped out immediately, and you have to wait for the 4-hour. Anyways, right now price is coming back to the support zone, and hopefully the Forex gods could give us that 4-hour bearish closure below this level, so we can short it back down to 1.10 thousand. Nice psychological level. Could definitely be on the table. So the 4-hour time frame will show you that idea. We had this 1-hour closure at one point in time. This 4-hour candle was all the way down here, looking bearish, looking juicy to enter. I even said on Discord, hey guys, this could be it. This could be the moment. But in 2 hours time, this thing flipped back up, produced a hammer off support, usually leads to a rally. And if you check out this price action right here. This candle right here is as bullish of a candle you'll get. Huge body, no wick to the bottom, very to minimal, no wick to the top, and this is just a straight buy signal. If you didn't get out here, if you jumped the gun and you entered, you had a chance to get out after this hammer, and if you didn't get out after this candle, then you deserve that loss, right? You have to start learning how to read candles, and more importantly, for pound pairs, respect the 4-hour rule. That's the golden rule. And it's not always going to play out. You will get 4-hour bearish closures or bullish closures, and it may go against you, but 80% of the time, if you wait for the 4-hour, the pound pairs will show you respect. So right now, the 4-hour candle is looking pretty bearish. Obviously, the previous 4-hour candle was looking bullish. So obviously, a lot of indecision, and these past 4 candles: bearish hammer, bullish hammer, inverted hammer, bullish hammer, and now we have a bearish engulfing. So obviously very complicated in this Monday morning, but just let the market get its footing. It's been a rough couple of weeks, and for example, the New York Stock Exchange trading floor has been closed as of today, so it's pretty serious. Traders are even taking the work from home route. So for us, we're gonna have to wait, be patient for this 4-hour closure. I'll put an alert at around 1.14628 crossing down, and I hope we can get this, because this week I have a few things going on outside of trading. It's going to keep me pretty occupied, so I'd really want to enter trades that are very low maintenance, and this is the R2R we will probably see. Nothing too definitive yet. I do want to get the closure first, but 3.0 R2R is phenomenal. So that is a setup we'll keep our eye on, and I'll send this chart work in. As always, signals, if they do come across me while I'm awake, specific entries, take profits, and stop losses will be sent. Otherwise, I expect you guys to apply the principles in the trading room and my basic instructions to enter when you can and when it's available. So next up, gold. We can look at gold, Aussie Yen, Euro, USD. Interesting. So gold, geez, it's looking like a pretty solid buy right now. And you guys remember our goal analysis or prediction, bull prediction for 2020 was 1800. We went as high as 1700. So maybe this is a chance of popping back up to go higher. I made sure to make this very clear, and you can see your alert. If gold were to breach 1450, on the 4-hour time frame, then all longs are off. We're looking to short. As you can see, my trade alert is still there, has not been activated, and that tells me one thing: that one, our support at 1450 is very strong, and two, this thing is looking to push back high again. Now, ideally, I'd probably wait for this thing to creep up above this blue zone, and then look for longs back to maybe 1700. Obviously 1800's a great Christmas present, but that's the idea. You can see what a strong level that was, and it did not want to break it. So pretty interesting to see how gold will react as the G20 meetings and the G7 meetings go on this week, but definitely an idea. It is heavily manipulated, so I'm trying to stay away, even though it looks so good. But I was planning to hold this trade for the rest of 2020. I got stopped out prematurely and just kind of gave up on it. But for gold, I highly disregard you guys trading it right now. It's too manipulated. It's too volatile. If you're holding physical gold, then by all means hold it. If you're looking to buy gold, by all means buy it. I do think it's gonna go higher, but there'll be moments of deep retraces, unexpected volatility, unexpected moves, but that is the case when the world is in chaos. Next up, let's go to Euro Aussie, and people on Portal have not forgotten about you. Euro CHF, CAD CHF, okay, we'll take a look at that for sure. I'm still in Euro CHF and CAD CHF, Aussie and Euro NSD, Pound CHF, CAD CHF. Okay, so I'll quickly go over these really quickly. I don't want to get the session too long. If it rejects the blue zone, can we sell? Big raise this for gold. Yeah, that's a good idea because it is a resistance. As you see in the past, when we did have rejections, it was a pretty good short. So that is a possibility. But just because we have the G20 meetings and the G7 meetings this week, this could probably be more influenced by fundamentals than technicals. That's for sure. So I'll look at Aussie Yen just because we don't really trade Euro NSD too much. And it's gonna take forever to go over every pair. But Aussie Yen, let's take a look. Awesome. So this was one of the trades I was in Sunday for some more quick pips, and we're still waiting for that closure of this level right here. At 62.800. If you guys remember, last week we had a short signal for this trade, and we made around 80 pips. As you can see, we came here, and that's where we stalled before we popped back above. Friday, we discussed that if we do get a bearish closure below this level, we are headed to lower lows. First and foremost, we have to take up this target. We came pretty close, maybe 5 pips away before pushing back above. Now, I do think this thing is going lower. As you can see, the price action is still making its lower lows, lower highs, but it's kind of in a confusing spot right now as it's at support. Support's at 64.100. Now, me personally, Aussie Yen, I'm not going to touch it until it breaks this level. It's shown once, twice that it's failed to go lower. Despite all the fundamental pressure, it does not want to go lower. So until it does that, I'm not going to touch it with a pole. I'm just going to put this alert down. Crossing down 62.624 on the 4-hour time frame would be ideal. So that's my idea. And obviously if we get this, the stop loss will be in between this range and this range, like always, and our take profit will be down to the previous low, a nice 2.77 R to R, which is great. So I'll send this through, but patience. It's going to be a lot of patience. We might not even get a trade to enter until later in the day, maybe Asia session, which is fine. We've had weeks where we didn't take a trade until Tuesday morning, and we've made 400 or 500 pips. Not really into too much of the FOMO and just rushing things to do it, but Aussie Yen, pretty decent setup that could be on the table. Pound CHF. So we'll quickly do pound CHF. Wow. So it's not a pair we tend to look at too often, but this thing has melted. My goodness. Now let me just see something. I don't want to move the charts too quick, but if I'm not mistaken, this thing has never been this low. So dating back to 1994, this is the all-time high for it. And now we're creating all-time lows for pound CHF. Wow, that's crazy. So, I mean, when we don't have past data to go based off of, I just tend to target psychological levels for these type of trades. And thankfully, we do have some past data here because this wick went down here. So if I were you, I'd probably target that wick as a take profit because we are still carrying that bearish momentum. And so... right, that's fine, and then we'll go to the 1 hour time frame. Let's see what's up. So the 1 hour time frame, I mean, I'd probably be looking to target this. This is probably where price is going to be most attracted to go to. If we just quickly plot down some hourly time levels right now, we have a resistance here, and we have our previous low down here, which we're struggling to break. And so this would be a pretty solid intraday trade setup. And you know what? This is a good idea. I would not mind taking this trade setup. So, just from this 1 hour time frame, we have a resistance, a support, and a support. Now, if we do get a closure, maybe on the 4 hour time frame or on the 1 hour, I would not be against taking us a short down to here. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Because how much of it because of how much it dropped, we're not over risking ourselves. It's only at 1.112. That's around Euro USD numbers. So we have around a target of maybe 170 pips. Obviously, this 4-hour closure is very important. I mean, this 1-hour closure and its respective 4-hour closure. But we take a short here. Our stop loss would be probably the middle of this candle right here. I think this is fine. And we have around a 2.33 R2R setup. I think this would be fine to take. Let's take the 4-hour. Ideally, a 4-hour closure. If this thing can close down here on the 4-hour time frame, then we're taking this trade. I think this will be the first trade. I think it's the first time we ever took a pound CHF trade. So that's gonna be pretty interesting. But amazing pair recommendation. Thank you. So I'm gonna save this. I'll send this through. Who knows? We might get an entry in the next few hours. We'll roll the dice on this one. Next up, CAD CHF. I haven't forgot about you, Justin. Pound CAD, and then we'll continue on. Simple trading, man. I feel like the more time I spend on analysis, the more it gets skewed by biases and just overcomplication. Most of our winning trades, the mega winners, I take 2 seconds to look at, maybe a minute, and we have our idea. So I'm gonna remove these take profits. They're past take profits, and we'll get into this. So pound CAD, yikes. I don't think we trade this pair too often either, but nonetheless, let's take a look. Okay, so after removing these take profit levels, we'll have a clear idea of what we want to do. Now, the weekly time frame makes it pretty clean for us. We have our 2 zones of significance on the weekly time frame. Obviously, this weekly resistance, weekly support, and then there's daily support right here. Now, if you look at recent price action, we have broken below this daily support. Now, the only issue is that we're struggling to close above these miniature supports on the 4-hour time frame. So in the past, when we have breaking the support, we have stalled our shorts at this level, right? We come back above, we come here, we get a rally. We come back above, we get a rally, etc. And now it's looking like we might have that same scenario happen, as the Canadian dollar is struggling during this time. If I extend it over, this is a pretty common occurrence dating back to 2017. This level right here is of a particular importance for pound CAD for some reason. And so for me personally, I think a daily closure below this level, for example, in the past we've had that, we'd have a nice short down to here, would be pretty solid for us to take. So let's take a look at the daily. So on the daily, you can see the indecision right now. This candle right here was a nice rejection candle, but the next candle came up and tried to push above higher. So for me, I think what we would do is wait for a bearish closure below 1.66218 on the daily time frame, and that should be enough confirmation for us to take the short. Now, a lot of our trade setups have been shorts. It's just a bear market. Even pairs or currencies that are doing well, quote unquote well, during this chaos, they're still selling off, because that's what happens when you have a global recession. No currencies dominating too much, other than the safe havens like the Swiss francs and the dollar. So yeah, we'll probably look for a short on this, and have a target down here, a support just halfway in between these 2 candles. Nothing too immediate right now. We're, I think, 200 pips away from even getting this closure. I'll put an alert if we get it. We'll probably get it. If we do get it, we'll probably get it on Wednesday or Thursday. But currently, I would not be taking any counter trend trades. I'm going long, just because if you look at the amount of sell candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The past 9 out of 11 days have been shorts. So there's heavy seller presence. and I would not go against it. So I'll send this through as well. We have a lot of chart work. I tend to only send chart work if the trade's immediate or imminent, but I feel like this way, you know, everyone has everything plotted and ready to go. But pound CAD now, pound CHF we already covered. CAD CHF. Now this thing is a headache. If you want to know what a headache is, it is definitely this pair. And we'll go over why. And once again, TradingView does not want to save my chart work. I'll have to contact their support. But in short, what we've had last week was a pretty good short of around, I think, 100 pips or 90 pips. All we did was basically, you know, when CAD CHF gapped down here, it created support, right? It failed to go lower than this blue support right here. And our trade idea was very simple. If we get a bearish closure on the 4-hour time frame, we're going to enter short. And the Forex gods came along and printed this 4-hour candle. Nice fat body, very little wick to the bottom, very little wick to the top. Immediate sell signal, and we entered for a nice decent gain of around 115 pips. All right, and this is awesome. We had a huge downside target for this pair, just because of safe havens. We're gonna dominate, and the CAD was gonna be weak. Now I think TradingView did not save my long-term target, but it was 0.55000, a nice psychological level. I'll quickly plot that. Oh. Right here. So this is our huge long-term target, and we were holding as a mega swing trade. So, you know, we obviously took a quick hiatus in that viewpoint. But once again, CAD CHF, you know, I had a remaining runner position holding, and I held it through this much drawdown. This is a lot of drawdown, almost 200 pips. But finally it's coming back down, and that's the patience. With swing trades, you're going to hold it through huge bouts of drawdown, especially during times of uncertainty. Even with the CAD CHF and the CHF pairs that are supposed to thrive in these market conditions, you may have these hiatuses or these unexpected reliefs, and that's fine. You deal with it. Now, you know, if I, you know, got out here and I wimped out, I would have lost a huge amount of money, right? But now I'm sitting pretty comfortable with this thing, hopefully crushing the support, and we'll take that same short again. You know, the thing about these levels is once you have the levels down, the same price action applies. You get a 4-hour closure either way, up or below, you have your trade set up. We obviously do take a fundamental approach as well, and the fundamentals do support the short. There's a reason why this thing didn't continue going up, because we're in a pandemic right now. Now, we're going to put the same alert we did in the past. The alert is at 0.67400 crossing down. We want a 4-hour closure, bearish like this candle. Obviously not a bearish hammer. This is not a nice sell signal, but a nice fat bodied bearish candle is what we want. So we'll have that, and we'll take the same trade again. And when we do get this, I'll send you guys the take profits. We do give intraday levels. For example, this was an intraday level, so it's not just swing trades, but once you know, the intraday traders, they got out, you know, well before this push. The swing traders, like including myself, had a remaining position that did go into some drawdown, but finally pushed back below. So that's CAD CHF. What's next, guys? BTC. I will send a signal for CAD CHF again, if, however, I'm asleep. You know, I do sleep, even though, you know, I seem like a unicorn. I do sleep. So just to give you guys a rough trade idea of what we can expect, I'll have to go to the daily just because it's so far out. This is the overall target, and for some this might be a bit too long term, which is fine, because we do have an intraday level here which you could gladly take, but you know, there's certain setups that are swing setups, there's certain setups that are intraday setups. For example, that pound CHF trade we discussed, where is that? Here we go. This pound CHF trade is not a swing trade. I'm not looking to swing this until we break this level, right? But it's definitely an intraday trade setup. This right now is a hybrid, right? We do have an intraday level, but because of the momentum, because of the fundamentals, I think us targeting the swing aspect is going to be better, right? Last week we had 2 trades combined for 600 pips. That's 2 weeks worth of profits from our trading room in two trades. So based on that, that's why I'm targeting these long-term targets. By all means, you can leave the trade right here at 0.66102 and just take profits every 25 pips. That's fine as well. And then, targets afterwards. 0.65, and then just psychological levels after, because we don't have any past data. These are all historic lows. CAD CHF has never been this low, and that's why I'm choosing arbitrary psychological levels, because we have no past data to back our support and resistance off of. So that's why we're choosing these psychological levels. And by all means, choose whatever's comfortable for you. But first off, even if you're an intraday or swing trader, we have to target 0.66079, okay? And you can take profits every 25 to 30 pips on our way there. Our stop loss will be at 0.68937, okay? So I'll send this through. I think I already saved it, but if I didn't, no, I'll send this through. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential trade ideas for this week. Now, obviously, we're not gunning to enter every single trade, but whatever is the best out of the 6 is going to be our main setups for the week. BTC, I'll give it a look. So BTC has kind of taken a hiatus right now, as much of the world figures itself out. But quickly checking the portal, USCHF. I will send the signal for these trades, guys. USCHF is still valid. Good reminder, I'm still in it, and I'll give that a look as well. I use OBS. This thing is great, but it's also annoying. It gives me problems from time to time, but I mean, that's pretty much any software, any device. Anyways, BTC, I'm gonna remove this short, which we had a great run for. Now, if you guys remember our past idea, and I should bring that arrow back. Our past idea for BTC was that, first this was our break of 6,000. This was our retest. We wanted a rejection candle to close below the previous low of that break. We never got it, and that's why we didn't make our headway back to 3,000, right? Now, what that tells me is there is some buyers coming in. What we'll be waiting for is probably a bearish close on the next daily candle. If it closes back, if this candle can squeeze back down below here like that, right, then you should most likely see a nice, and these are ugly candles, but you get the idea, a nice push back down to 3,900 area. Obviously, if this thing closes bullish, then we may have a run, and it could be very annoying. It could probably make a deep retrace back to this trend line, maybe even to 10,000. I don't want to make any promises, but it's in a tough spot. In terms of technicals, it is still short. Obviously, had a major sell-off, so it was due for a retrace. But if it starts to clear, for example, this low, then I'd be worried. So just to put that into perspective, this clears this previous, lower low, this one right here. So if candles somehow close above this horizontal ray, then I'd be pretty cautious about shorting, because it could make a run back to 10,000. So that's my opinion. But if you just take it on the weekly time frame, you can still see we're kind of in that trend line of going short. So nothing too much to worry. We could just have a very annoying deliberate retrace back to the trend line before we finally make a push down, right? If I squeeze this in, you can see, this trend line, we drew this back in July, and we've caught, out of all these shorts we've taken, I think we won 5 out of 6 for BTC, just using the simple principle, and that could be a possibility. We'll see, but it's a bummer that this thing didn't hit 3K. I was pretty excited it will. Now, EUR/CHF is a trade I'm still holding, very small position, but nonetheless, it is a trade that should drop. Oh, who knew there was a EUR/CHF in crypto? here we go. So Euro CHF short is still valid in my opinion. It is having a hard time breaking the support though, which is a bit of a problem. But this is why I let you guys. This is why I said I will call the signal for this trade. Last week I jumped the gun and entered, but for you guys, I said I'd tell you guys when to enter. For me, this is still a valid setup as long as we stay, below this previous high. We've kind of created a resistance on the hourly time frames at this level, and we're reacting respectfully so. So, it's all my fault for me jumping the gun and entering the trade. But thankfully, I didn't call that signal for you guys just yet, because we were waiting for that 4-hour bearish closure, which we didn't really get. And so this is still a pending trade for most people. The alert, I'll put a new one in case we get it, so I can remind you guys. But I'm pretty confident of holding this trade unless it breaks this high, right at 1.06261. Then I'll probably cut the bleeding short. But it's a 20% small position I'm holding, so it's nothing too much for me to sweat about. Next up. Yes, I will send out signals for USCHF and CAD CHF when they are ready. For example, this is not ready right now. We need that break. Because if you're like me and you jump the gun, you get stuck in these, very tough retraces. What's next, guys? So while there's a momentarily break in questions, user requested TA. So we have some people posting some awesome trade setups here. It's not the only one. I'm not the only one posting trades on Discord. We have, Elliott wave traders, indicator traders. We have people from different disciplines giving their opinion. So we have a pretty good chart work here. While people think of any other pair recommendations or questions, I'll give the 50% coupon code really quickly. Now, what this code is, it is first all capital letters 50, and this is 5, the number 0, not the letter, the number 0. Now if you're interested in all these live sessions, Mondays are free session and Fridays are free session. Monday's a general session like today, right? We don't really enter too much, we get a general idea. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when we enter trades live. Signals are being called and profits are being made. If you want to join those sessions, please head over to, and I'll do this really quickly, forexlens.com. forexlens.com. And when you get here, you're going to go to Forex Trading Room. And then click Get Full Access for as low as $74 per month. It's actually going to be a bit better. What you're going to do is you're going to fill out this form. It's going to take maybe 2 minutes to fill out. When you click next, there'll be a button called Add Promo Code. If you add this promo code, you will get our trading room service for $48.50. That is how much most people pay for a night out drinking, for a lunch tab. Some people even spend that on, on haircuts, hair salon appointments. So just to put in perspective, it's not too much money. And with this, you're going to get 30 days of my live sessions, or at least a month. 20 days technically, weekdays. 20 days of my live sessions, 5 signal providers, including me. So you're going to have 5 other providers giving you signals around the clock. Here they are: Vanity, Django, Cable, Logan, and Adam. These might be coming a bit later, but all these providers, including me, and my chart work. This is where my chart work gets sent, and we also have other traders sending in their chart work as well. So we have a Joe sending in some chart work, some Elliott wave stuff, and then you have some gold analysis, and then you obviously have my trade ideas as well. So all this teaching, all this communication back and forth between me and you as a trader, for a very, very low price. So make sure you use the coupon code. It will get you 50% off your first month. Now, any last minute questions? Is it a valid setup? No. Just because the 4-hour candles, you said yesterday, Sunday, we did not get a bearish closure below this level. We want a big fat body. And for those that are wondering what a bearish closure is, I keep talking about. If we go to, I want to make sure where I put this. One second, guys. I've sent this infographic on right here. Here you go. So this is the candle we want. This one on the 4-hour time frame, and ideally where my alert is. This is why I put the alerts, so you guys can put the same alerts. 1.05236. We want a bearish closure on the 4-hour time frame in and around this area. Okay. And on Sunday we did not get any of those candles resembling what we want. Right. That's why the trade was not taken. So that's the idea. Alright, so this session is an hour and 10 minutes. Wow, these sessions are getting longer and longer as the community grows and people ask more and more questions, which by all means is fine. We're happy to help you guys. Make sure you use the coupon code FIRST50. I want to see some new faces in tomorrow's trading room session, and obviously make people make some strides in their trading. If you want to join the Discord, the link to join is in the description of this live session. So just quickly fill out the sign up sheet and you'll be able to go on our Discord. We have community discussions where we can chat with everyone. It's pretty awesome. We send memes, we joke around. It's a good time. You can also see gain reviews. So if you want to see actual results from our members using our signals and our analysis to make profits, it's all there for you to see. So make sure you join the Discord and refer a friend. This week and this week only, we'll be giving everyone, or the free members, full access to our Discord until March 31st. So if you want to get insight to my analysis, Joe's Elliott wave analysis, or signals, take advantage, refer a friend, help both your trading journeys out, and join the Forex Lens Discord. So without further ado, I think that should be it for today's free session. If you want to join, use that coupon code. If you're still on the fence, watch last Friday's session, and if you're still on the fence after that, you can definitely join this Friday. But get on the Discord. That's the best place to be, and that's where you get to ask me questions personally. So I'm RP Forex. I hope you guys have a great day, a great week, and let the Forex gods be on our side. Peace and happy trading.